Hi everyone, Michael Ingledew from TDW again. This week we're going to look at the 5 top reasons why SaaS might be a good solution for your tech data needs. And we're going to talk about that for a couple of different reasons. One is we're already being asked by a lot of organizations to explain how a SaaS solution might help them, or indeed what a SaaS solution is. In fact, only this week we were asked by an organization to help them understand the differences between SaaS and actual purchasing software. But another great reason for us doing this is at TDW we have to own a massive amount of software, and to buy all of this software off the shelf would be crippling for our business. So we actually go down the SaaS model with software that we need. And if we're talking about something that might be 500-600 quid, we're not talking about a massive amount of money. But if we're talking about something that's off the shelf 15 grand, we might struggle to do that for 3 or 4 seats that we might need here. So we go down a SaaS route with our software needs. Now, if you're not sure what SaaS is, we're talking about software as a service. Now, software companies realize that organizations, including ours and even bigger ones, no longer have the money to throw around at large software solutions. I mean, some organizations still do, and they have that luxury, but in the main, organizations need to look at how they can save money on things like software. And just by the very nature of what we do within tech data, we have to have complex, expensive software. So lots of organizations now provide the ability for you to have a SaaS solution, which is a software as a service solution, where in effect you still have the software, but you're effectively renting it from them. And what that means is that, you can spread the costs, you can do all sorts of great things. But let's have a look at the 5 reasons why SaaS might be good for your tech data needs. Okay, so we're going to look at the 5 reasons SaaS may be good for your TD needs. And we're talking about specifically tech data because, as I've mentioned, at Tech Data World here, we have to have a raft of software that we use around the tech data field. And, we're working on a couple of tutorials and courses right now, which mean actually we have to have some very expensive software, and we simply couldn't afford to just keep buying 3 or 4 licenses of these pieces of software. So we're actually effectively renting them from the software companies. But let's have a look at the 5 reasons SaaS may be good for your business. Now, as I mentioned, we're talking specifically around tech data and tech data needs. And one, it's very cost effective. It's very cost effective because you no longer, in general, with a SaaS solution, have to have large upfront cash payments for software. And these payments for the software are in general spread over monthly payments, which is great for medium and small businesses that have to be very sensitive to the way that they are spending their cash. We're seeing more and more at TDW now, organizations asking us for quarterly, monthly plans because they need to spread the cost of working in the market, and it's becoming slightly more expensive. So it's easier for you to budget for, and you can spread those costs, like I said, over months, quarters, or have two annual payments or whatever it might be, depending on the license model you go down. But it is very cost effective. You can still have it installed. One of the great myths around SaaS solutions, depending on which model you go for, is you can still have the software installed, so it's still on your local machines. And what happens is that, providing you've got some kind of internet connection, the software makes a short integrity check at the start of every session and just liaises with a server license somewhere, or a license server somewhere, and it gets a ping back saying yes, you can continue to run, and the software will continue to run. Now here at TDW we have to have for the production of our magazine and our tutorials and these kind of things, we have to have things like Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, Acrobat, FrameMaker, RoboHelp, Captivate, which I'm using right now. Now you can imagine that if we bought 3 or 4 licenses of each of these software solutions, it becomes very, very expensive. So we actually use Creative Cloud and the Adobe TechCom suite. Why? Because that means we can install per user on 2 machines. So for me, I'm actually a very heavy user of all of this software, I can have it on a PC machine, and where it runs I can also have it on a Mac machine, and subject to me not running them concurrently, I'm not breaching any license agreement, and we can have that for a very low monthly flat fee, which we have across the team here at TDW. So that works really well for us. But the great thing is that actually it's all installed locally on my machine. So if I decide that I want to work on the train, or if I want to do something from a hotel room with no internet, providing I've recently verified my subscription status, I can continue to work absolutely no problem at all. Now, of course, one of the pitfalls is that if I've forgotten to do that and I have no internet connection, then I can hit a problem. But in general, I'm a little bit disciplined about it, and it works really well for TDW. Now, another great reason to go down a SaaS route is simply you can switch it on and off as required. And that's great for organizations that might hire up and let people go as work peaks and troughs. So, specifically around service providers, maybe technical publications houses or illustration houses or whatever it might be, you might win a large contract where you might bring 5 or 10 contractors in. You can increase your SaaS license to allow those extra 10, 15, 20 people in, and then the moment you don't need it anymore, you can switch it off. Now, you can't do that with a purchase license. You can't, in general, return licenses. The software company's not going to send you back a load of money. But with a SaaS solution, if we decide that we don't need a piece of software, we had that here. We decided that Captivate was working really well for us on the Windows machines and not so well on the Mac machines. So we decided that we would release the licenses that were running on Mac, and we saved ourselves a few shekels every month, which worked out pretty well. So a great thing that you can do with software as a service is you can turn it on, turn it off as required. So if you are a small company and all over a sudden some work dries up, it's a great place where you can just turn it off, some more work comes in, switch it back on again. It's fantastic. Another thing with SaaS is you can have real low IT overheads, and we have the IT gods will hide behind security and access and all of these things that you are not allowed to do, because if you start chipping away at what I do all day long, then I might not actually be needed anymore. But there are now SaaS solutions that can be 100% externally hosted. Now, of course, many organizations, specifically in the tech data industry, are very nervous about security and backups and all of those wonderful things. But if you choose a SaaS provider which has a complete infrastructure behind them, and I'm talking about data centers and backups and all those wonderful things, you can actually outsource the entire problem. They will host databases for you, thin client editors, publishers, even push to your website publishing solutions. That would mean that you don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry. All you have to do is come in, switch on your machine, providing your internet connection's working, you can crack on and get your work done. So the IT overheads really do become less and less. Now, coming back to my subscriptions that we run here at TDW, for Creative Cloud and for the TechCom suite, we we are informed as soon as there is an update available for that piece of software. And so we can come in and fire up the machines, and Creative Cloud or TechCom Suite will say there are 3 new updates available for Premiere Pro, Fireworks and Dreamweaver. Do you want to install them? And it's a simple yes, and it does it in the background. We don't even have to worry about having somebody from IT to come in and have a look at these things. Now, of course, in different organizations this works differently, but in general you can have it all seamlessly working with updates from the cloud, notifications. Even notifications can come through, and then you can call in your IT guy who can do it for you. So it really is a massive saving on IT overheads, especially if you start going down the cloud and hosted routes for non-safety, non-security critical data. And we're seeing lots and lots of organizations now, they outsource lots of stuff. Well, why don't you outsource the hosting of your software requirements and data hosting? And organizations are doing it. It's easy to update and upgrade and deploy, as I've mentioned already, is that we can automatically, certainly here at TDW and in some organizations where maybe network security is not locked down to the nth degree, unnecessarily so, you can have certain gateways opened up so the software can update itself. The tech data department can look after itself, can upgrade itself, and we can shift licenses around really easily. The great thing about certainly the cloud-based that we use, and I say cloud-based because it's all local installed and it's installed on multiple machines, is that me personally, if out of all the guys here at TDW, I run about, believe it or not, about 5 different machines, ranging from a desktop Mac to a desktop PC to a laptop, a Mac laptop, and I have the Windows Surface Pro, the Surface Pro 3. Now I have my licensed software installed on all of those machines, and depending on which machine I decide to be on, I can fire up the license server and it will say, hey, you're already signed into 2 other machines. Do you want to sign out of one of them and continue to work? You click yes, and I can crack on and start working. So I don't need to uninstall, put it on the next machine, reinstall, get a license key. Oh, that license key's not working. Get in touch with customer support, who might be on their annual holiday and somebody's covering. It's all held on a license server. The license server is clever enough to know that I'm licensed to use the software, but it's also clever enough to know if I've exceeded the number of licenses. And we can add people here at TDW. We've just taken on a new consultant here at TDW, and he has access to our licenses that he can get to. Now, of course, it's not going to work for everybody, and we suggest that you have to have kind of a little powwow with your IT department on which way you should go. But in general, it will work pretty well. Now, as in this kind of theme, we have we've recorded our 2-hour presentation that we gave at TDW Live, and part of the strategy is, of course, software and licensing and all of these things. But we talk about the tech data strategy, which we've made available for free off our website. So it's a copy, or it's just a verbatim presentation that I personally gave at the conference last year, and it got lots of great feedback. And you can go to www.techdataworld.com, go onto the resources page, and you will find the presentation there. All you need to do is put in a valid email address, and you can watch that at your leisure. It is a bit heavy going, so you might need to watch it in 15-20 minute chunks, And out of all the presentations that I've given over the last couple of years, it actually received a massive amount of praise. And in fact, a couple of organisations have asked for copies so they can show their bosses on the kind of challenges around TD and what we need to do around TD. So that's available on Tech Data World for free, and you can go on over and get that. Now, we are actually in the next or the upcoming issue of the TDW magazine going to have an article on SaaS and how it can benefit, but some of the challenges around SaaS as well. So you can sign up online again at TDW, and we'll send you a copy, and you'll be able to use that to convince your organisation internally or externally, and we hope you find it useful. TDIQ is also another resource that you can use when it comes to looking at things like SaaS, and purchasing software and tips for purchasing software are all available on TDIQ. So I hope you found this short tutorial interesting. Like I say, we brought it back in because simply it's a question we've been asked again this week from an organisation that needed help in terms of identifying and working with software, and SaaS was something they hadn't considered and they wanted to look at and understand a little bit more. So if you like what you saw, please do subscribe, which I think is down there. Please do visit techdataworld.com. Make sure you're on our email list so you get notified of all of our latest updates and free tutorials that we've done. Go to techdataworld.com and watch the 2-hour free session, or sign up to the magazine and get lots of tips, tutorials, and all of those great things from within the magazine, which are a little bit more in depth than this. Or head on over to TDIQ, where we obviously have much more in-depth training on things like buying software, the things to look out for, identifying IETP solutions, and the things to look out for. So I'm Michael Ingledew. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed putting it together. And if you have any questions, please do email me here at Tech Data World.